thanks.
A trivial task.
So, Lian is the most basic and boring champion in the game that has nothing, not in the slightest fun built in her kit, right? Well, if that's what you think, then take the money back from your doctor that made you a fucking lobotomy, because this chick is really not as simple as she looks like at the first glance. And she looks like she's about to siege the Westeros. Got it? Because she's based on Daenerys Targaryen? Game of Thrones, anyone? Anyways, with Lian you got only one correct way to play, no exceptions. But before we get into it, let's take a real quick overview on her abilities, just to make sure we are on the same page. First off, her gun is absolutely not what I expected it to be when I heard that she's gonna have a rifle. Usually, rifles in games have slower fire rate and higher damage per round, which could lead to the result of Lian being a sniper, which would slow the game down and could make Paladins a game where you just stand at the choke and trade all shots all day, like Overwatch. But fortunately, Hi-Rez decided to make it absolutely different, and instead of a sniper gun, we have a supportive weapon. Why supportive? Because it has a very low DPS, less than 1000. Yeah, Cassie has pretty much the same base DPS, but Cassie has combos, and she can delete enemies with a blink of an eye. Lian, on the other hand, can't really do that shit without ult. But she's very good at providing some extra firepower, and since this gun is hit scan, it's very reliable, as long as you got your aim on point. You can hit targets far away, you can kill flying targets, what else do you need from a gun, right? Valor. There are two occasions when it makes sense to use it. First, if you have an angle on multiple enemies. And second, if you need to finish someone off, but he's trying to dodge and you can't reliably hit your regular shots. That's it. It doesn't deal any bonus damage, it doesn't apply any cool effect, it doesn't even cancel your attack animation. Which means that using Valor in a combo doesn't make much sense. It sounds pretty boring, but just think about it that way. You can dismount the entire team with just one right click. Plus it gives you ult charge for each target hit, which is pretty important. Grace. Mostly wanna use it just for movement, but it's actually a really nice engage tool as well as a very aggressive disengage tool. It's really cool for dueling some cheeky flankers. When he attacks you, you can use Grace and get some distance while still damaging the enemy. It feels really fighting-like movement, like a defensive zoning. It can also work as a finisher, just like Valor. Or it can work when you wanna counter enemies' movement abilities, when they are using their dashes in order to throw your aim off. It's just a 400 damage, but you know, 400 here, 400 there, and that's how you kill them bitches. All you need to do is to simply look in the enemy's direction while using it. Presence. This ability might look like it's good for finishing a target far away, but it's not. Not at all. In fact, it's the complete opposite. The best way to use presence is to have a drop on someone with it. Which makes a lot of sense, since regardless of the character you're playing on, you wanna use all of your spike damage when you have an opening and not when you wanna finish a fleeing target. So just forget about some cool 360 no-scope snipes a mile away with this ability. And just bust some full HP meatbags that stand there on the battlefield waiting to be stuffed with your bullets. If you wanna use all these abilities in a combo to have the lowest TTK possible, then this is what you need to do. You use presence, then immediately graze, and then just shoot the target. Yeah, that's the combo. If the target is also trying to escape, and your fat fingers don't allow you to aim fast, you can also use Valor. But that's for pussies. Now here is when Lian's kit gets interesting. There is one more ability which is the best finisher in the game. And as for me, the core ability of this champion. I'm talking about the Enlightenment, the Lian's ultimate of course. Until Lian got released, the most powerful ultimate as for me was Victor's Barrage. But now we got that Enlightenment that at the first glance looks like, you know, just one more nuke ability. Like honestly, there are non-ultimate abilities that deal more damage than Enlightenment. For example, Willow's Seedling. But there are a few side effects on this ult. First of all, it makes you absolutely invulnerable and CC immune for a second and a half. And secondly, it gives you 50% ult charge back on every kill you get with it. I don't know about you, but for me it took some time to get a hand on it and actually find out how to use it correctly. And I'm telling you right now, the amount of bullshit and uncounterable plays you can pull off with this ult is gargantuan. At first I thought that I can snowball a fight and basically line up 2 kills in a team fight, get my 100% back, use it again on 2 more players, get 100% more, and basically snowball a fight and pretty much win it alone. And yes, it's one way to use it, and you might even succeed doing so once in a while, but if you wanna use this ult in a massive team fight, there are very big chances of screwing it up. It doesn't go through walls or shields, so just one random ability can mess your most important ability up, which would be a shame. And then I started experimenting with it a bit more, and I found out that actually the best way to use Enlightenment is to completely obliterate flankers that are trying to take you down.
What? Did he just say that you need to waste your ult in order to deal with flankers? What a noob, dislike, unsub.
But wait a fucking second. Keep in mind that every time you actually manage to kill that one flanker with it, you get your 50% back, and by the time that flanker respawns and gets to you again, you might already get your ult up again and kill that flanker again. I know it sounds weird, but I guess that's a new take on Harry's vision of Paladins. Last few characters, including Lian, remind me fighting game characters. Instead of big team wipe, Overwatch-like ults, they got some extra move, the so-called meter burn in fighting games. It's usually used to make your combo deal more damage, like Ashe can do with her ult, or to close the distance you couldn't otherwise, like Xin ult, or punish a target after baiting it out, like Janus or, you guessed it, Lian. Speaking of baiting, that's what you wanna master while playing Lian. You have to really get in your opponent's head. You wanna know what skills and when they wanna use, when they will try to poke you and when they'll try to chase you. You also wanna make your enemies waste their defensive abilities before using your ult, because it would be a shame if it's gonna get blocked with, I don't know, EV size block, Enver reversal. You wanna poke them as much as you can, force them into wasting their defensive abilities, and then bait them into attacking you. And then when they think you only got a few shots left to die, and they desperately chase you with their half HP and no abilities up, you just press that ult button and see the rage in that poor flanker's eyes. It looks like such an overkill, but who cares if you can get this ult up like every 20 seconds. And I feel so dirty when I'm doing it, and honestly it's the most fun I can get right now in the game. Honestly, tell me what's more satisfying than this trick in the game. Tell me, I genuinely wanna know. And in case that the enemy team either doesn't have flankers or they're just too bad to even get close to you, you might as well start flanking yourself and snowballing a fight like I mentioned earlier. Now, legendaries. Honestly, since all Lian can do is shoot people, the only legendary that makes sense is Precision, because it makes you shoot harder and more often. And also with this legendary your Grace and Valor deal more damage too. The other two are just straight up worse. Eminence is bad because you don't snipe with your presence, you wanna use it like in mid to close range. And Alacrity has such a poor effect, like, come on, it's a legendary card. Could you make it even more situational and have even less effect on the gameplay? Like, Harris, come on. Loadout. Lian's loadout cards are really boring. That's why I roll with 200 bonus HP so I can survive more flanker shots, 20% more speed, just to make flankers really break a sweat chasing me, and a card that increases your Grace range. 2 levels on that one is enough. You can also throw the reducing healing with a presence card. It might work since you always wanna use this ability first. And please, don't use all the healing cards that Lian has. It's the most gay shit in the game. Like, come on. If you'll go to the Pride Parade, you'll get beaten by other gays because you're too gay. Other than that, there is not much we can talk about in Lian's cards. Items. Since I was talking about so much about that ult, you have probably already guessed what item I like on Lian. Horse riding. Of course horse riding, because Lian is Khaleesi and Khaleesi has to know how to ride a horse. No, it's actually a joke, you gotta get a morale boost. Like, there is no dilemma between choosing this one over that one like with other champions. You just get morale boost and blow flankers' brains out. End of story. But if you already got level 3 morale boost or level 2 and you feel like your ultimate trick doesn't always work, you might wanna get something that improves your survivability, like Haven, Blood Shields or Life Rip. It can definitely work on Lian. Now, what about Caterize? Why didn't I mention it? Well, that's because, as weird as it sounds, you don't actually wanna focus on that. If you wanted a champion that is good for shredding tanky targets that are being healed, you picked the wrong champion. Lian is good for fighting squishes, and squishes benefit less from being healed. And if you think that because Valor can apply Caterize on the entire team you should still buy it, I'll remind you that what's important is not just applying it, it's how often can you reapply its effect. And you can only use Valor once every few seconds. That's why Caterize isn't that good on Lian. That's all I had to say about Lian. With all the boring skills on paper, she's actually one of the most fun to play champions in the game right now. And with this guide, you can explore how fun she can be. See ya guys next time.